And g'day, guys. How you going? We should be live. Welcome to the Home Invest School podcast. And today I've got with me a fellow former student, which I'm going to introduce in a minute. But before we do, as I always say, go to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, become part of the family, and hit the bell icon as well, so that when we go live, you get notified. Jump in the chat at all times. Jump in the chat. Make as many comments, even if it's a replay. Just put stuff in the chat, and just become part of the family and get involved. Now, without any further ado, I've got a former star recruit from the social media blueprint world, and he's doing a lot of stuff, which I won't go into because he's got a rap sheet as long as my arm. So I'll let him talk about that. But his name is Christopher Sprague, and he's into all things real estate, but also into coaching on mindset, which is a great combination. As a lot of people know, with real estate, you've got to have that combination, a good mindset. So, Christopher, welcome to the podcast. I'm rapt that you could come in and join us.
Yeah, thank you, Graham. I appreciate being on. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we might have missed you, but Tammy was on the other day. I think we were in a different point than you. But it's good to see people that have come through SMB doing really well and out there and making real things happen in real time out in the real world. So that's what it's all about, isn't it?
It is. It is. Yep. We've had our successes. We've had our challenges, and I'd like to say that I'm still, early in my investing journey, but I'm excited and I do it full time. So
yeah,
I love it. I love working with people. I love helping, and I'm absolutely obsessed about real estate and investing.
Yeah.
So it's really fun.
Hang on. I'll just, we've got Lee Felder who said, "Hey, Chris, this is Lee. Resend me your phone number."
I know Lee.
Yeah, resend me your phone number. So you've got fans already, mate. You're on 2 minutes and you've got all the fan base coming in already. So that's awesome. But the good thing about it, Chris, I've spoken to you, a few times now. I got the pleasure yesterday to meet your lovely wife, and which is good, getting that whole package. So you're a family man. You've got 2 kids. You're a family man, and you that's really important too, and that's anchored deep into your why. We were talking about that yesterday. Now, before we go into the real estate stuff, mindset, I just want to touch on a couple of mindset things. We'll cover it a bit later in the interview, but there was something really interesting you said to me yesterday about like belief and about building belief. I just wanted to start the show with that today because it was really impactful when you talk about family and all this sort of stuff. And it was, I think I've written it down somewhere because it sort of got me. I'm just hang on a sec.
Yeah, we were talking about the different stages of belief.
Different stages of belief. That's it. Yep.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. And can you explain that? Can you explain that to people that are listening? Like, because that's really, you're talking about anchors. You need to really anchor that in before you do anything in real estate, don't you? And
well, you do. You have to have a level of certainty before you can really commit fully to action. I mean, if we brought up a couple different examples of that, but I feel like belief number one has to come from you and knowing that it's possible. Whatever dream you have, and ours just happens to be in real estate, investing, and wholesaling. But you have to believe that number one, it's possible. Okay. And we have this podcast show, you have YouTube that you can watch that shows you that yes, in fact, it's possible. You can come in and invest in real estate with little to no money. You can do it without needing your credit. And that's possible. All you have to do is learn the strategies to engage, to negotiate, to do some marketing, networking even. And yes, 100% it's possible, right? So you'll have to go in and prove that to yourself because there's hidden stories that we tell ourselves all the time, right? That he can do it, I can't do it. He's this way, I'm not. I'm disabled, or I have challenges. So you got to surface out those stories. And number one is invest that it's possible. Number two kind of ties into what I was just talking about, was, do I think I can do it? Right? With my certain level of skills and abilities, my background, we also have a story that is either going to help us along this journey, to help us grow and connect and network, or it's going to pull us back from that. So the second level of belief is, can I do it? With no, and again, this is a barrier to learning anything. Without I think these two stages of belief, you can go in and learn, but it won't translate to action, which is really where you start getting results, right? So it's so you have to work on, we hear it all the time. And I think if there's anybody out there that says, I've listened to mindset, I've done this constantly, and I still am not seeing a lot of production, it's likely because the belief systems aren't in line. And you got to be able to take that next step to action. You got to get obsessed about this stuff, and you can't do it without belief. So powerful.
So most people, you'd say, would be able to go, right, I can see that. I can see that that's possible. Someone else is doing it. But the other stage a lot of people get stuck on is that one where, can I actually do it? And you use the words imposter syndrome and stuff like, oh, I don't feel it. And they're the demons that you got to face, isn't it? You got to get through them first in anything to be able to accelerate from there. So they're the roadblocks, I guess, that people always talk about. Is, all right, you see people are doing it all over the place, because especially with media now, social media in your face, it just seems like everyone's doing everything and got these absolutely amazing, beautiful, wonderful lives. And but then you've got to actually believe and see yourself doing it, in your mind's eye.
Yes. Yeah, 1000%. And those internal dialogues, that story telling you that you can or that you can't, is completely up to you. But I'll tell you that the stories that there's an inner villain inside, isn't there? That is running on autopilot. It's trying to really keep you safe. If you looked at it scientific or from a biological level, it's saying, don't run too fast, don't drive too fast, don't take too many risks, don't do this. Maybe you should think more about this. That's the system trying to protect you. And when it comes down to real estate and achieving goals, you can't achieve a massive level goal without taking risks. Without putting yourself out there and fearing, and going after that failure, right? You have to pursue that, because now you have something to work on. And that's a mind game. We always say that, and I work with students, I have clients that are just starting out, really trying to answer those questions first and build some basic skills. And that's really the main barrier, is, can I do it?
Yeah, and that leads us into what we're going to talk about now in actual real estate. I just wanted to start off with that, because that really, I don't think people understand. We on the surface understand it, but you've got to get your mind right. You've got to get the fact that you believe you can do this, and whatever you need to prepare. And we'll go into that now, because we're going to go through the topic we actually wanted to speak to you about today. Was Christopher was building a virtual wholesaling business from the ground up. So basically starting with the foundations of what we were just talking about, and then building the team on top of that, and then building the. So that's what we wanted to talk to you about, because that's
Love
what
it.
You're in California, so you're doing stuff outside of California, and we probably the first layer that you don't see, the invisible layer on the ground, is the different stages of belief, which you've just ran through. And then you because you're dealing with something virtual, you're dealing with something a relatively new product for most people. So you've that belief, you've got to get that belief around it. And the next level is obviously people. You've got to build the people, and you've got to have them in place. So what are the key things you look for when you're dealing with people, as in building networks first? Is that what you sort of do when you hit the ground, and you're
100%.
looking at a market?
100%. First step is you identify several different markets, and I just look for more real estate buyer activity. So,
Yep.
and how you can find that, you could talk to title companies, or you can do some internet research. But you want to identify a couple different niche markets that you can put side by side and go, okay, if there's a lot of real estate activity going on in this area, as as opposed to this one, that should help you evaluate 2-3 markets and look at. You can go online and get some data, and then you can also call your teammates, like a title company, and ask them, hey, I'm new at investing. I'm new at investing in this area. I'm looking to buy and find a few properties, and I was just curious if you can see a heat map. And there's some tools out there I know that can help you do this. Privy's one of those.
Yeah.
But a title company is like, think of them as like the heartbeat of investment on the ground. That your title company knows investors, knows people, and they can they can pull a quick cash sale list in 3 or 4 zip codes that you have, and now you have your market. Okay, so step 1, identify that market. Pick one that you can that has pretty good rental income and has good cash purchase activity going on, right? That gives you a couple different exits. You can hold for a rent, or you can sell to a flipper. So that's step 1.
Yep.
And then step 2, and really establishing your market, for me, from a foundation level, especially when you're first getting started, you need what I call a ground team. You need folks that this is going to include your buyers, which is a really critical role. It's going to include real estate agents, property managers, title companies, bankers, appraisers are a ground team. I even reach out to junk and property cleanup companies as ground team. Think of any service that you might see in a motivated house that's vacant, that's down. It could have foundation issues. It could have fire damage. Take the time to go find the best foundation guy in the market and connect with them. Find the guy that does fire restoration for a major company. Connect with them. Tell them your story, and you don't have to fluff it, guys. You could just tell them, look, I'm newly investing in the area. We have the capital to buy. I'm looking for teammates and folks that I can trust and I can build a business around. And when I have questions about foundation or fire restoration, or if you're talking to an attorney, if I have legal questions around probate or short sales or pre-foreclosures, these are the folks that on the ground will help you in 90% of the time without a charge at all.
Yep.
So I have a list of teammates that all work in the area of real estate. They work in and around. They're service-based companies, cleaning, attorneys, bankers, that all you got to do is stay connected with them and add value. And I do a whole nother training on how to add value for your partners and stay in front of them. But I have scripts, and what I do, and when I'm developing a new market, is I'll go and connect with all the partners that I can think of. And it does a couple things. Number 1, it reduces my risk. I have more market knowledge in that market than a lot of investors do, to be honest, because they don't reach out to those guys and actually engage and build a relationship with them. Understand the market from as many viewpoints as you can. That's definitely a way to do it. They also will bird dog properties for you. So let's say you have, some conversations with bankers or with the junk removal company or real estate agents. Every single one of those teammates can find deals for you. All you have to do is let them know what you're looking for, right? This is my niche. I always tell people, focus single family homes that have some motivation, and that's your thing, ranch style single family homes. And if you can get specific, that's really simple for that person that you've connected with, you've added value to their business to say, hey, I actually do know a guy that might be able to help you if you're in a tough spot, right? And that's exactly what you want. So ground team will reduce your risk and they'll help you find deals. Really critical first step. And there's maybe some that are more valuable than others. Buyers.
Yeah.
You want to know what your buyers eat for breakfast, guys. Really, what they watch. Yeah.
Another thing, Christopher, like you've nailed it there, because you think about it, all of those people, right through from your contractors, from the people that do all the physical work on the physical house, through to the title company and all the people that do all the paperwork, there would be, once you get to know those people really well, and it's like once you get to know someone, you say, oh yeah, look, go and see so and so. They do a good job. They're good. And that's how networking actually works. Now, you're going to get so many leads and so many opportunities come from those people because they talk to you on that level. So any opportunity comes up, oh, Christopher, you might want to go around this. I noticed, I know a bloke that's selling a house around the corner, and or his mate's selling a house around the corner. And you find out stuff that you would never find out. And that's from title companies, from loan, lenders, the guy that you've got,
roofers.
you formed. So you've modeled this right across the board, so that you're getting a lot of leads coming in through those areas, aren't you? That's part of your modeling of how you pick up a lot of your leads. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So
it's just on the phone. I'm all virtual. I connect and I try to add value, and then it's important to stay in front of them.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, let's say that you spend that time in a market and you found the foundation guy. I mean, he is out there. He's got 5 crews. He eats foundation for breakfast. Okay. What happens when just by association, you become the investor that has a beat on foundation issues.
Yeah.
That now you go into your online forums and you're connecting, and nobody touches the foundation issue, but you could, because you got that guy. And now he can come and review the risk for you. He can give you a time. He can give you a material cost. He can give you, is it going to be a long job? Is it maybe a short job? That all of these guys, this is, something I think that we can breeze through this in a couple of days and a couple grand. And it had thrown all of the other investors off because they didn't know enough to understand what that risk really was. So maybe they put another $30,000 in their budget for a foundation, but you can put in $6,500 because your foundation guy is on your team now. And it's so powerful.
That's a gold nugget there.
You can do joint marketing campaigns with these guys. Foundation repairs. I mean, you could do that. You could see how many people or what he's doing for marketing and try to be a part of that. But there are probate attorneys out there.
Yeah.
And it really just starts. You could just say, hey, I'm an investor. I constantly connect with people that are struggling with probate, with divorce, tax issues. And I'm looking for a partner, a marketing partner like yourself, an attorney that knows that system. And I can offer value, tips and strategies to help you avoid pain going through these processes by offering your services. So I'd love to connect with you and share the value with my prospects.
Yep.
Because not all of them are going to come and say, yeah, I want you to buy my house. But it gives me, I am now positioned as someone who's here to serve first.
Yeah. Yep.
And I can say, look, I've I've called, I spoke to dozens of attorneys, and no question, this is a gentleman that has been in probate for 20 years and has helped thousands of people just like you. And I'd be happy to
Yeah.
share. I got some free info that could help you through the next steps. And if it turns out that we could be a part of that solution by buying your house in any way, I'd love to explore that.
Yep.
And so immediately, value points like that immediately translate to, okay, this guy's on my team. This is a seller thinking this, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's helping me problem
Yeah.
solve, and that's different. Like he seems to care about me first. And that's magical. That's a magical moment.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a whole mindset, isn't it? It's a whole, the foundation at the bottom. You set that as your mindset. Everything
Big time.
flows from that. Even your attitude, even if you have problems on the project, that you just have a better attitude to deal with it. Your people go, well, we'll just dig in and we'll get this done, because they know that you're going to do more projects. They know that there's going to be more and more. So, it's just infectious. But that, man, that you've dug so deep into that. Are you a really detailed person generally, Christopher? Do you like getting in and analysing everything, because you've gone so deep into that? Look, I've heard people say this sort of stuff before,
Yes.
but not as deep as that. That you've thought of everything. You know what I mean? Like that's next level. And
I have
like even
my background is in general sales and commercial financing. So
yeah
I'm the guy who's already made the 10,000 cold calls and has spoke
yeah
with companies all over the country. And I've seen opportunities on a high level, and I've seen major challenges that people are going through.
yeah
And all of my success in sales, because I wasn't that guy who liked sales. I wasn't the guy who liked even communicating. I had a bit of an issue with that when I was young.
yeah yeah
But all of that success has come from really an interest to serve.
serve yeah
And when I figured out that I could just help somebody through a challenge, and if I was just a viable solution for them, then I could do really well and I can help
yeah
them, then that's where my success came from in real
yeah
estate and in any business. I started companies when I was 20, but it all came from that. I really enjoyed working with people, and my main passion is real estate. So I'm excited for the next chapters, and
yeah
it's exciting.
yeah absolutely. And that was the next question I was going to ask you, Christopher. Was um you work with people. Do you teach them more the real estate side of things, or the mindsets, or a bit of both? Is it a 50-50 mix?
It's got to be both.
So
I feel like there's three key things you got to have to make a real business out of real estate. And I think that if you can do a transaction or two, you have a hobby, you have a project, and that's great. But I think that you got to implement some success habits into your schedule. That's mindset. You
yeah,
gotta, and that's is a daily battle. So
yeah,
mindset, I teamed up with a gentleman that has massive levels of success in mindset training, and I do that. I'm a huge student. Um, so I have a coach that works with me on mindset with our students, and then I also have, and I do sales, I do negotiation,
yep,
and marketing, and
yep,
then um, I have another partner that is he's an IT consultant with Microsoft, and he focuses on efficiency. So I think at a certain level, um, you need to get really organized, right? As you bring in lots of leads to create a business, now it's a matter of connecting at the right time, having follow-up campaigns, being able to present your offer, um, and then now you add that ingredient of service, and I think you got something special. And
yeah,
that's part of what I loved about Nate. I've known Nate for 12 years
yeah,
because he was originally on one of my my first real estate training programs, there was Nate.
Yep.
And, you know, just he had that same connection first, that same service first, that
Yeah.
I felt like, man, that's really in alignment. That's really in alignment with what I do and how I feel
Yeah.
like it should be done. And in social media blueprint, he maps out the presentation process, the marketing angle. So it was wonderful.
Yeah, and it's very different to what's happening out there in the wider community of wholesaling and investing, because it almost seems a little bit foreign when you come from that into, but it is so service orientated and so you know, you open the books up, you're transparent. It's a very good system, and it's built on service and trust. So yeah, you're right. That's amazing. But yeah, I just want to go a bit further into, like, we would talk. We sort of got to the point where you've just full on drilled down into a market. And
Yes.
I just got sidetracked a little bit and said, so this is what you actually take your students through, is you teach them all this stuff. And you just mentioned then, which is really interesting because it's so true. You need to be organized. You need to have all CRMs. You need to have all this stuff in place if you're going to do this long term, because you've got to contact these people. You've got to follow up. You've got to keep, like you said, that was one of the key points you said before, is it's all in the follow up. It's all in the being in front of these people. Realtors are really busy. I mean, have you ever tried to get onto a realtor? About 10 phone calls later, you get onto them. They say, oh, look, I'm sorry, I've just been shown houses. It's not their fault. It's just they're busy. It's not, you're not getting ghosted. People get busy in life. So you would have had to put together like a blueprint, wouldn't you? So that your students can sort of follow this and understand that this has all got to be in place.
That's right. That's right. And, to be honest, it's not, establishing relationships does take time. It takes several phone calls. So don't think it's going to take, you're going to get a single phone call and, man, I have a buddy, I have a friend, I have a partner for life in that market. It doesn't happen like that.
Yep.
But you'll use that first phone call to identify the type of person that you'll want to work with.
Yeah.
And then I implore you to put as much energy and value into that as you can. And really at that point, you want to review deals with them. You want to look at articles on real estate with them whenever you get a chance. Give yourself a reason to make that phone call and connect with them. And there's some strategies for that, but you just got to stay in front of them and know that, hey, I'm in business. I'm buying houses every month, every 2 weeks. And because you never know when that guy is going to see a seller that has a high level of motivation, a pain that he would love as a service person, he would love to help them.
Yeah. Yep.
See, because it works both ways. I use them as a service in my business to help reduce my risk. They use us as problem solvers to get cash in somebody's hand quickly, to help them move to be closer to their family, that, or when they're going through a health issue or a troubling, there's so many, right? People in your network will use you as a tool in their business. And that's what if you focus just a little bit of energy, I'm not talking, you have to have, coffee with them every day. I mean, I'm virtual. So we add value and reconnect, even if it's for 2 minutes, quick phone calls, respect time, so I talk about all of those things when I work one-on-one with students and do market launches with them. So that's.
Do you suggest to the students that they do have say their realtors, if they've got a big list of realtors, to have them on an email sequence or something, like once every 2 weeks, once every month, to touch base and have something personal, even if it's a blast, even a text, have something personal. Like, for instance, if it was me, hey, name, Fred, hey, Fred, it's Graham here. Remember the Aussie guy, and you just have some point of difference so that it doesn't seem like a generic email.
Yes.
So is that something that you advise as well, just to keep in front some way to try and automate it?
100%.
Yeah,
With there's a lot of email programs out there. MailChimp is one where you could put 200 contacts in there and send out a weekly email, and it's no charge. The MailChimp is no charge, so you can put let's say you did that and you called realtors and bankers, contractors, property managers that in the market have a ton of knowledge, right? And this is what we need right now. This is what investors need right now more than anything, is they need true understanding of their market, how it's shifting, and from multiple points of view. So what if you sent out an email to 5-6 of your partners on a monthly basis? Hey, I'd love to grab some coffee and talk market. I'll buy you a cup of coffee. And maybe one of them responds and says, hey, yeah, I'd love to. If you did that on a monthly basis, you're going to reestablish that relationship. You're going to learn about how their business works and the clients that they see. And, even if it's just a phone call, but I'll send market information that I've done research on to those clients in an automated email every couple weeks, just because I want them to remember my name and that I'm digging on this market. I'll find an article on real estate in their market and I'll say, hey, man, this seemed really interesting. I'd love to get your thoughts on it. Here was, I saw something the other day that Amazon was putting a bunch of money into affordable housing programs. That could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. I'd love your data. I love your input. And people love to share, and they love to see that you are paying attention. And I'm not just talking about, wholesale here. I always suggest people wholesale in a market to start before they actually buy something. But this is important for whether you're wholesaling or buying or renting, flipping or holding. You want to know that market. Guess who knows that market really well and has to write up reports on loans is a banker. I was a commercial banker. So I would have to walk into a boardroom and tell the bank, well, what in the next 10 years of this loan, why I don't think it's that you're going to have any risk of default. And I'd have to convince the board members that there's very little to no risk in lending to this particular client. And so I'm forecasting what companies are coming into the area. How do we hedge for an economic change? Like, what does that look like? That's my little report, right? And so you do that same thing. You just dig a little bit, and your team will add flavor to that. And now it gives you power. It gives you power when you're talking to any other or a seller. You're like, hey, one of my good friends is an attorney, and he talked about this economic change, and it actually isn't that much of an issue. And it just gives you those extra value points that you can offer to anybody you speak with. Really, really key.
So just out of curiosity, I just thought of this then. How many people have you got attached to your, I guess you could call it your power team, your ground team? Let's just look at contractors and cleaners and subcontractors, all the plumbers and all the trades, and then go through the more the clerical people, like the title office, and then going into realtors and that. There'd probably be over 20 different people, wouldn't there? Quite easily, 20, 25 people.
Yeah, for a market, for any given market, I think that's a solid. If you connect with them and they share, because for me, I want to work with people that have hustle. They're busy, they're moving, and then the second requirement is a heart of service. So
Yeah.
I'll reach out to 20 agents, 20 contractors, 20 attorneys, but I'll click with a half dozen
Yep.
in any one given field. And I want to keep in contact with every single one of them. It would be anywhere from 20 to 50 is, I think, a really great, if you can find people that are like you, that have a heart of service and are ready to hustle, that care, that's your top 50 in a market.
Yeah.
And it just makes life so much easier. You give some trust. And I teach in sales. Really what I'm teaching is how to work with people and serve first. That's what sales is to me. You do the same thing when working with your network, just in a different way. Very similar though.
Yeah. So from that next level, so we've got that level, and that's a very important one. I mean, they all are, but that's people. That's that's getting jobs done and getting leads. Like that's a great organic network you've got there. So the
Yes.
next one would be to keep the machine running. You'd probably have to have some systems and procedures, tech wise and personnel wise, to keep, like you said, to keep all the emails going out, everything going out. Then you've got
That's right.
on top of that the real estate stuff, which is the talking to, if you get leads from a seller, you've got to have a system in place. So systems and procedures and that get laid over the top of all that, doesn't it? But the people becomes before that. And you've mentioned before in us talking that you've got to know how people think. You got to know what people want. You got to get down, once again, drill down and find out that. So there's a fair bit of people skills involved as well. So
That's right.
from that next layer of automation, what's the cherry on the top? What sort of finishes it all off? So you've got that foundation.
Yeah. So the last part is the processes to keep what's really critical is getting momentum. And really, how you get momentum is you just have to get either people that work with you or teams, virtual assistants, to make progress on a daily basis. And that momentum will um, carry you forward. And it's so critical when you first start. You got to capture some momentum, and it's just consistent effort. Even if I know a lot of people that might be watching this only have a half hour, an hour to actually do something in their business. If you focus on that hour and you make it, a half hour focus time, you can do this.
Yeah, especially
You
with wholesaling
absolutely
too.
can do this with
Yeah,
wholesaling.
yeah,
Yes. But now, and I know another barrier to getting started when people are first coming in is they hear that, oh, we'd have to have, like, I have to get great on the phone, and then I have to have this whole system, and I have to wipe those are stories, and you're talking yourself out of it. So be careful. But
yeah,
when you first start, if you just had a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet, you can do some deals. You have
mm,
an email program that sends emails out on a weekly basis. There you go. Now you have a few ways of getting leads in the door. You can do this with pretty limited technology. Google Sheets, you write down every seller that raises their hand that says, hey, I would be open to a call. Make that conversation happen and then follow up regardless. If they say yes, obviously work down that road. But if they say no, they're not high enough on a motivation chart yet.
yeah,
So we
yeah,
might call them when they have a vacant house, and
mm,
it's a headache, right? It starts here, and they don't really think much of it. They don't need the money, maybe, but then what happens, 3 months, 6 months down the road, is that maybe there was a job loss, maybe there was a health issue, maybe there was a divorce. Do you see? And then when they get to this level, like 2 or 3 levels of motivation, that's when they're going to pick up the call, and they'll call the first bandit sign that they
yeah,
see. But you talked to them 6 months ago, and they weren't ready. And so now even if you don't have an email follow-up campaign, just call and connect with them on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
Hey, I know you said no. I just wanted to tell you, I'm still thinking about you. I'm still interested in buying the homes. And I just want to make sure you know I'm still out there and you got my phone number. And I care.
Yep.
Like, I care. And they'll say, no, Chris. I've had plenty of people. The jerks, right? That's what people are afraid of and why people don't call. They'll go, I've already told you no, Chris.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's
I'll
right.
walk them into a story and that makes them understand why I do it. So, and I'll tell them, I'll say, look, I totally get it. I just want to make sure that you know I am still here. I've had it happen in the past where I didn't follow up with someone that was just like yourself. And what happened is they ran into another issue. Maybe they had a fire on their property, or they got another fine from the city. And they ended up calling the next person that they could get a hold of. When I looked at it, they ended up selling it for $15,000 less than I could have given them for the property. So that's why I follow up.
Yeah, you have to
And
follow up.
I don't mean to bother you, but I'm here to serve, and I'll check in from here to there, right? If that's all right. And
Yeah.
guard down. That's the key. Because that really
Well,
does happen. That really did happen to me.
well, you've got a sales background too, haven't you? So you
Yeah.
understand that people need to have contact 7, 8, 10, 12 times before they're going to, they don't know who you are. They don't know who you are. That before they're going to trust you at all, they've got to get to know you. They've got to see some patterns. And the human brain detects things at such a rapid pace that people can sense things. So
Absolutely.
like you said, just following up is doing those contact touch points more and more. And you actually do get to know, especially if it's a motivated person too. It's a whole different person. But if it's not, it could take 15, 20. You just have to have an automated system where if they decide to sell down the house because life circumstances just hit them all of a sudden, you're still there. Everyone else is long gone. So
that's right.
Yeah, that's awesome. And obviously in you've just I don't know how, I don't know your coaching course and everything, but by listening to you, you've actually got I'd say to be pretty intense. You've left no stone unturned, and the students are probably pretty lucky because you've probably mapped everything out for them. It's like the old McDonald's franchise. You go to the other side of the world, and it's exactly the same as what it is where you are. So that's great, because that's one of the things now more and more with being stuff on time restraints with people is if you've got a go-to product, a done-for-you product now, that's gold now in this modern world, isn't it? And especially in coaching, if you've got something where people don't have to reinvent the wheel, they come in, it's proven, they can see results, they can see success, and that's what your students do. They come in and they go, well, I can take this to any city. Well, not any city. The one that I've researched, the one that I've done the heat maps on, the ones that I've made sure that I've followed Christopher's exact model. Well, then they can take it elsewhere, and that's what a lot of people do when they scale. Is they just move from one city, they might move to another city in the same state, or one in another state. So, obviously, that would have taken a fair bit of time for you to put together.
Absolutely. No, it's taken, from it's a process. I've done sales for 15 years. And so I try to distill what I've learned over the years and speaking with people into key skills that you see. It takes 6 or 7 skills, I think, to build a business. I could go through all the skills, but that's not the important part. What is important is that people get stuck and they feel overwhelmed because they'll take a little bit of action in a lot of different places. And they haven't quite skilled up. So what I do is I focus in on one skill. And repetition and feedback are the mother of skill. So you can do lots of reps, but if you get very little to no feedback, that can be frustrating. you can take a tenth of that action and grow that skill if you just had a little guiding feedback.
Yep.
So we'll take one skill that we want to build, and it might be finding, direct seller leads on Facebook, or making that initial cold call to vacant houses or for sale by owners. And we'll work in a bite-sized chunk and get as many reps in as we can, so that now it's like riding a bike. Everybody, when they first started riding a bike, they were terrified. When you were 5 years old and you got your first bike, and you're getting on this thing and you're going fast, you're trying to balance, it was scary. And that happens with cold calls. It happens with marketing. But after repetition, after a little guided hand by dad, it's my favorite job, right?
Yep.
A little guided hand by a coach, you start to get your balance. You realize, I just need to hold myself this way. And that's the same confidence that you'll need walking into a call or a negotiation. Yep. And so that's what I do. I try to break down into little skills, so there's no overwhelm. We could just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, give you that feedback, and let's go do it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And I promise you, after you do that 1,000 times, you're going to be skilled at it.
Yeah.
Especially absolutely. With the correct feedback.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's my coaching approach. I like to we got to dig and build until a skill is actually yours to create with.
Yep.
Now you can put it in your belt and move to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. So build them up as you go.
That's it.
Actually, I've just looked at the clock. I've got to wind up there. I wanted to do a bit more about your business, but I want to do we're going to have to do this you're going to have to give short answers. It's going to be like a quiz, just so we can get through in time. I wanted to ask you about your SMB experience, because you come through I haven't really spoke to you too much about that. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. What drew you to SMB in the first place when you come through?
Well, like I said, I had actually had connection with Nate from 10 years ago.
Okay. Yep.
And I just loved how immediately his message was service first. And I knew that was in alignment.
Service first. Yep. Okay. Before coming to SMB, what were you struggling with? What were you struggling with that you come to SMB to try and deal with, I guess?
So just like everybody, I'm not a guru, and I want to say that I am. I have a certain dollar amount dedicated to personal development and real estate education.
Yep.
And anytime if you can sit on the shoulder of someone like Nate, I would implore you to do that, because while I had the structure of real estate understood, they showed me the power of networking through social media. I'd never done that. I built a lot of my business just on cold calling. The perfect presentation was golden, and watch Nate go through that. And it's just a really methodical approach, again, with service first in mind, to help anybody go through that. So it helped me brush up on my presentation, negotiation skills.
So it was
so
only
many great
tuning.
things.
It was only really fine. There was that's a great point, because that's why a lot of people come to SMB, because it's social media blueprint. But I don't think they expect to learn how to network and relationship marketing and all that. That comes along with the whole Facebook advertising and all that too. So that's a great point, because you knew real estate. You weren't coming just to learn real estate from scratch. You were learning for specific. You come for specific reasons, different than others. That's right. You weren't struggling, but you wanted to improve in those areas.
I technologically, I hadn't really set up, Facebook groups in the past, or tried to message people. I didn't really do that at all. I lightly touch the Facebook, if at all, right? So that it gave me a little nudge to say, hey, you can do this. Go in there, add some value. And it's the most actually, now that I've gone through it, this Facebook, the marketplace and the groups that you can connect with, it is
Yeah.
the most powerful networking tool that you can use.
Yep.
Bar
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree. I wasn't prepared for the stuff that I learned there. Amazing, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around half of it. But after the other thing was, so what was the big outcome? How did that have a? What was the outcome for your business once you'd done the SMB stuff?
Well, I tell you this, once I got into Facebook, now I integrate a part of my whole networking strategy has changed. I found a new way, in fact, two new ways to generate organic leads. I learned more about how to work with other wholesalers on deals.
Yep.
My last few deals were all because of those teachings.
Yep.
Off Facebook, I spent one night where I was going Facebook like crazy, networking. I found a real estate agent that was doing a garage sale, and she had a property, and then so I locked it up, and then I worked with another wholesaler. He sold it in short order, and that was all. There was contracts and there was things in there that I'd never done it that way before. So that was
That's it. Yeah, I had a couple more questions, but we'll have to do it then, because I just wanted to do a quick wrap up, and you could, if people want to reach out to you, how they reach out to you, give some contact points on the screen. I've actually got your personal Facebook profile, so that's probably the best way, so people can just go
it's a great way to
and
connect.
reach out to you. But I couldn't fit any more on. But if you got any other business contact points you'd like to just verbally say, and people can watch this back and contact you.
Yeah, we'll put it in the chat, or we'll put it on the site somewhere.
Yeah.
But ambientrealtysolutions.com is the website.
Yep.
Find me on Facebook, and I'm always, if I have time, I love to connect and chat. I'm a networking monster. I mean, I really love to connect with anybody and add value where I can. So please reach out there. And if we engage, we'll get my phone number and we'll work your market. We'll help you build.
And probably the niche that you serve best is you do the virtual stuff. That's you've just in this interview, you broke it down, and I'm sure if you come as a student, there'll be so many, systems and stuff in place. But not only that, you cross it with your training in mindset and coaching and all that in mindset. So you're getting the reasons why you're thinking like that as well. So you lay everything out on the table for your students, don't you? So that's another thing.
As much as I can.
It's not just real estate. It's about preparing yourself, unblocking yourself, having someone to bounce ideas off while you're learning a new process of real estate. So no, I think you've sort of niched off a little bit. You've done the virtual stuff, and you've part of it is building the layer of mindset at the bottom of the structure to be the foundation. Yes. So I think that's a really good mix, and a lot of successful real estate people really do a lot of work on their mindset. So the proof's in the pudding, and I think more and more people are going to be in real estate are going to need to be coached on their mindset as well, because it's such a ever changing, and since COVID it's blown up virtually, so the market's changed again. So yeah, look, I think what you do is great, Christopher. You have got a service mindset. You do it with your wife as well. Your wife and you work together, so that's always brilliant. If you can get two people aligned together like that, you can do great things together. And look, you're kicking goals. So I appreciate you coming in. Too. Oh, there she is.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's it. Being a dad is my favorite job, and I just hope that real estate will help me do more of it. More time.
Well, that's right. That's right. That's the why, isn't it? That's the why you keep pushing hard. But no, thanks for coming in. Say hello to Heather for us, and
will do,
guys. Rewind it. There's a lot of gold nuggets in there, especially about people. We always bang on about people and networking and relationships. Christopher's all over it. He's built a business on that. So it's not just talk, it's reality. So if you want to reach out and you want to learn more about it, you're want your business to go down that direction, reach out to Christopher, talk to him. He's just said his contact details. You can hit him up on Facebook. Christopher, thanks for coming in. That was great. We've gone 55, probably one of the longest ones we've done. We probably could have gone for another half an hour because we had about 3 topics we were trying to cover in one podcast.
Oh man, Graham, I could do this all day long. That's what I do. I love it.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate it. Thanks for bringing the energy. And like I always say to the audience, go back, rewind it, watch bits, take the bits out of it that are good for you, and especially for those out there that are really looking to do virtual wholesaling. Maybe even reach out to Christopher, and even if it's just a few questions, he's got a service mindset, so he'll help you point you in the right direction anyway.
Absolutely.
All right, no worries. We'll wrap it up. Thanks, Christopher. Thanks, guys, for coming in and watching us, and everyone enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, have a great day.
Signing out.